Welcome everybody to the new tier list for patch 15.17, and in this video we're going to be discussing above Emerald and below Emerald tier list. But before we go into the tier list themselves, there's a few changes that Riot's making to the game that need to be addressed. And we're going to be starting with some of the system changes. Now, one of the key things that they're going to be doing is they're going to be turning on mini-map timers. So junglers are going to be a little bit less lost on the map, and they're going to be turning on a bit of summoner spell tracking. So if you get killed or you spot visually a flash happening in a fight, you can click it and you can tell to your team that the summoner spell is being used. So this is actually a little bit more friendly for newer players to actively track cooldowns and understand where they need to be on the map. What do you think of these changes here, AJ?
Yeah, I think these are look, they're not super mid related, right? Like obviously as a mid, your job is to track things. Like you can even sometimes track junglers, right? And it can give you a better idea of, kind of mirroring. So you track your jungler and you can kind of see where the jungler is based off of that, because you can like look at which camps have been cleared and when they cleared it. I think it's again, as a mid laner, it's not the biggest deal. What I will say is that the more quality of life things that Riot gives, the more accurate a champion strength becomes in win rate, right? Like for example, let's say you play a champion that needs to farm very, very well, right? In the jungle, their win rate will be reflected more accurately if you have perfect jungle timers, right? And so that would be the thing I would look at the most and be the most interested in seeing is like what champions actually get a win rate change from just a pure QOL increase, right? Like is
Yeah.
Karthus going to be better from this, like in jungle and stuff like that? So that's what I'm interested about
Yeah,
from these changes.
fascinating. Because this is especially going to be factoring on lower rank games. Because in high rank games, there's a lot
Yes,
of jungle camp tracking and
yes,
stuff like that going on.
exactly.
In
Yeah,
low rank games, it's a bit all over the place. So
yeah,
fascinating. Going to be really, really interesting. So keep in mind of these changes in your games, guys. The big system changes, especially for mid, is going to be in the items. So before we go
yes.
into the champions, we need to talk about the changes because this is going to change a whole lot. Now, we've probably all seen it in the patch preview, but Axiom Arc is reduced in 250 gold. Horizon Focus, a little bit less gold, 50 gold, 10 more AP. So the item as a stat stick, it was already a bit of a stat stick, becomes a slightly better stat stick. And Hydra, which is probably the biggest change, loses 5 AD, but also costs 350 gold less. Wow,
Yeah.
crazy. First thing coming to my mind, I'm gonna keep betting Kiana. I'm not letting that champion through the champion select any single time soon. But when you see this, what stands out to you here?
Yeah. So I think the thing that like first I want to contextualize how big of a buff this is, guys. Okay. So two what is that? 250 gold? Yeah, 250 gold sounds like a decent amount, but you might not actually understand how much that is, right? 250 gold is like imagine three extra waves just magically appeared in front of your face and you ate them all for free. Like obviously I'm not counting in the XP and things like that, but like that is how valuable 250 gold is. Like you're just getting free resources back that you wouldn't have had if you had built this item. So in terms of mid, right, the things that jump out on my mind are champions that's like want to spike ASAP, right? I think like Zed, like a Zed with an Axiom arc with his R, like you might be able to like R, kill somebody, and then your R's back up before Drake or something, right? Or you kill somebody in a Drake fight, you get your R back. So like Zed comes to mind, Kiana comes to mind, even a Talon comes to mind because this is such an insane change. Like you're getting a free kill of gold for buying this item now compared to before. That is a ridiculous amount of extra gold. So I would definitely encourage if you guys are an AD assassin player and your champion can even remotely build this and utilize their ults, I would give this a try. Like even bruiser mids too. Like I don't know if you play something niche, like I don't know, even like what's some one that comes out like like an Ambessa. Like I might give this a try on Ambessa or something. Like sure,
Hmm.
she loves Eclipse, but just like the item is so cost efficient now with all that extra gold. Like 250 is ridiculous. So
Yeah,
that's how I feel with that.
especially when we're going to also be talking about Profane Hydra.
Yeah, it's the
So
same thing.
I really want to highlight something, guys. Cost changes, especially cost reductions, matter a lot.
Yes.
The reason why that's the case is because you're now hitting your spikes earlier.
Hmm.
And hitting your spikes earlier allows you to be stronger at certain points, allowing you to get into the snowball effect. So this just 250 gold can very easily snowball in more gold. And especially when an item with Hydra, right? Hydra was just a really, really expensive item. I'm going to be honest. It was brutal to build. But it's also a very annoying item because I am now imagining a Kiana that's already really strong buying this item and putting himself in a position where she's now even stronger. And I know that this item deserves a small buff, but I think we're going into places where AD assassins are getting to this point where they're going to be tough to deal with. Tough to deal with. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, I mean, I can already think of like there's gonna be some niche picks in mid coming out. Like Dave Mon, the Pike guy, he's
Oh,
smiling ear to ear seeing this change,
oh,
and he's
he's
like the
so
best
happy.
Pike in the world. So me having to play against him on Pike and mid with a 2,850 Profane Hydra, that is gonna be absolute misery to play against. So I'm definitely not looking forward to that. Again, same thing with Ax. It's the same idea as Axiom. Like all these champs, like even Zed could probably give it a try.
Yeah,
Kiana, like Kiana has just gotten so many buffs, it's insane. Like
that is
somebody
champions.
at Riot loves Kiana or something because yeah, these are
Crazy.
ridiculous changes. And I wouldn't be surprised if again you see bruiser champions that can build lethality in mid off of this change. Like again, guys like Aatrox mid could unironically be played with this with the profane hydra change if you wanted to, or yeah, Ambessa with profane hydra is probably amazing as well. Like anything that can utilize lethality, even Axiom Arc Rush Jin could be good. Like obviously maybe not mid, but like in bot lane, right? That's
Yeah.
just how good these item buffs are. These lethality and armor pin item buffs are. It's just insane. Absolutely ridiculous buffs.
So it's really up to us to then decide, okay, how much
Yeah.
is this going to impact the AD assassins?
Yes.
Look, I think that Talon mid is still not going to be good enough. Even though
Yeah,
he
I
gets
agree.
these item buffs, I don't think he has the kit to play mid
Agree.
lane well. I
Yeah.
think Zed might be in a position where he can get a lot more
Yes.
flexibility. And this might put him in a position because Hydra, Profane Hydra is a really annoying item because of the fact that it is a bit of an amplifier in a way. And especially if you have Zed ult, and usually Zed does E and out attack, but he can
Yeah.
also Hydra, get that extra amplified damage. It's really annoying,
Undodgeable. Undodgeable
undodgeable.
stuff. Yeah.
It's just unskilled. So
Yeah.
I think Zed definitely likes this
Yes.
change.
Yes.
He loves this. So what do you think? Do you think Zed's going to be A tier?
I think Zed deserves A tier. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I was already on the fence with Zed. Like he's one of those champs that scales with champ mastery, and that's why there are quite a few high elo Zed OTPs, right, in both mid and jungle. And the flex power. Now this might not be super related to solo queue, but Zed's clear is already like top 5 in the game in jungle. So you combine Zed's clear with the ability to be able to play a mid. I could see him, just rising up in terms of be on the radar for a lot of Zed players in your
Yeah.
games because both mid and jungle are going to love this change a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Which also ties us into to Kiana, right? Kiana is also just it is a problem
Ridiculous.
champion,
Yeah.
and the biggest problem is in jungle, right? So my
Yes.
recommendation for mid laners is to ban this champion, even though you're not laning against it, because
Yes.
this champion is so fucking problematic when it
Yeah.
doesn't get punished. It's fake skill when it comes to how she uses her ult in team fights. Of course, lane Kiana is a different ballpark, but jungle Kiana, in my opinion, is fake
Yes.
skill,
I agree.
and I recommend banning it. Do you think she goes into S tier? Personally, for mid lane, I don't think so.
For mid, no, I don't think so because she still has good weaknesses. She still has decent weaknesses in mid. When I play against Kiana mid, I play Bruiser mid. Like I play Viego or Arbessa, and I have a really good happy time against Kiana.
Yeah,
So she definitely has weaknesses. Like Corki with armored rush boots, like you're not playing the game as Kiana. That's impossible. So yeah, I don't think she deserves to be S plus for mid, but in jungle, she's like cream of the crop.
yep, she is. So that's it when it comes to the AD changes, especially for mid lane. There's not too many
Yeah.
AD assassins around. Now, we do have Horizon changes.
Mm,
Horizon, we're just going to go towards coachless, you know? Horizon wasn't that good of an item to
not very
begin with.
good. Yeah.
It wasn't that good. Now, let's see if coaches actually works with me. Coachless is not working. Anyways, Horizon wasn't that good of an item. The stats were just not that good. And since they're now
Yeah.
buffing up the stats, they're getting quite a bit of extra AP, 10 extra AP, 50 lower gold. What do you think is going to change for Horizon in this regard, AJ?
Okay, yeah. So, here's the thing with mage itemization right now. It is very, very awkward for mages to itemize like the traditional mages. I'm not talking like, except for Syndra, who kind of has a defined build path, and
Yeah,
her kit is very special, so she can kind of diverge a little bit and go like cosmic and stuff like that. The reality is right now with mages is you're doing the same build almost every game with no changes, right? You need Magic Pen you need Rabadons, and you need a Lost Chapter item. You must have those in your build as fast as possible, right? Like, and you see this, right? You basically don't deal damage unless you have these 3 items, right? And so the problem is that yes, Horizon might look good, like you look at the numbers, like oh, so much AP and haste. The reality is it's competing with other slots that are kind of mandatory and mage itemization right now, right? Like because you must get your bloodletters or your crypt bloom, and because you must get your Rabadons, when are you going to get Horizon? Right, you're going to go Horizon second, and then now you're delaying your Magic Pen. What if you're against an Udyr who rushes Magic like MR? What your Horizon's not doing that much.
Zero damage.
Yeah, 0 damage, right? Okay, you go Horizon third after Void Staff. Well, why didn't you just go Rabadons then, right? You're just losing out on AP, and then you're just having weaker Rabadons. And so it's not that Horizon itself is that bad. I think mages systematically are just really struggling with their itemization right now as a whole, right? And so this is in the step in the right direction. But what I'd like to see is like they return passive effects and things that help out mages and give them more tools to like kind of navigate the specific situations, right? Because like Horizon competes with items that are more niche. So like Shadow Flame gives the same, like almost the same amount of AP as Horizon, but then it's good against squishies, right? Okay, you compare that to blood letters. Blood letters is giving you, yeah, a little bit less haste
Everything.
than Horizon, but then you get health and you get magic pen, right?
Yeah.
So it's like there is no spot for Horizon. That's the problem because it doesn't have a passive effect, right? When it had the damage amplifier, it was actually much more healthy because you could use that, leverage that. That was like a special thing on it. And so I think Riot have definitely taken a step in the wrong direction this season with the mage itemization. And so that's we're kind of seeing that now where it's like you're just stuck building the same exact items every game. And so I think Horizon just yes, these are insanely good buffs, right? 10 AP is 200 gold, and then it's 50 gold off, right? So you're getting a big spike on that. I just don't think it can't compete with the current items for mages right now. But what do you think?
It's just a math question, you know. And
Yeah.
I'm not a math guy in that sense. I'm just good at League. That's it. And um, yeah, look, I think it's definitely. I think it's gonna have a place. I think the changes are in such a way that I think they're big enough that this item is probably going to be built secondary on some
Mm,
situations.
mm,
Look, I can see it, for example, on Zindra, where if you like the haste
mm,
instead of the magic pen,
right.
you can do it, and you're kind of trading the health and the move speed from Cosmic for a bit of more
Mm,
damage. It's doable. It's
right.
playable. But we do have to really compare this to other secondary items, like indeed the Bloodletters, because Bloodletter second is something that's been slowly picking up with
Yeah.
some other players on mages, because it kind of is the stats that you want. You know, you got the
Yes.
haste, health, prevents you from dying. Health is fucking OP, you know, still, by the way. And it gives a bit of AP and Magic Pen. And not only that, it also helps with Magic Pen for your team. But it's a bit not upfront Magic Pen. But then if you want the upfront Magic Pen, you go Crypt Bloom, because it also gets haste. Is it gonna
Yeah.
be better than the Crypt Bloom? That's the question. Because Crypt Bloom gives like 70, I think it's like 70 AP.
65.
65.
Yeah.
65. I'm not an expert in that regard. 5 less haste, so 20 haste, but
Yeah.
it gives 30% Magic Pen. That's quite a bit of flat penetration that you instantly get. Is that worth the
Sorry,
extra bit of
75.
AP? It is 75.
Mhm.
Okay, look at that. That's quite a bit of AP. It's
Yeah.
it's 50 AP. You're basically trading off for 5 haste and 30% Magic Pen. Is it worth?
Ugh.
I don't know. 30% Magic Pen is decent and it skills better. This is
Yeah.
just like literally a stat stick, while the 30% Magic Pen keeps going. You know,
Yes.
the only argument you could make for this item is it's good for champs that struggle to retake because of the division that
Yes.
it gives. It is really good on champs like Seraph, especially if you struggle with frontline. The passive effect, the active effect, the passive effect is nice, but it's not the reason why you would buy this item in most cases. So
Hmm.
it's probably going to be more balanced. It's probably going to be viable, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere crazy. So I don't think it
Yeah.
changes anything of the mid picks.
Yeah, especially in that mid, because what I'm looking at the item again, because it's just a pure stats thing, you probably build it on champions that aren't mid laners, like Gwen with Horizon or Rumble or something with Horizon. I can see that because those champions have ridiculous AP ratios in their kit, and they like maybe Rumble doesn't like haste, but Gwen, for example, loves haste, right? Um, so you know what? I can see it as like an item, even though it's meant for mages. I can see a non-mage using it better than a mage. So yeah, that's something to think about,
Interesting.
considering.
We'll see. I think it's
Yeah,
not the biggest change in
not
this
really the
regard.
biggest change. Yeah.
Now, We talked about the biggest changes in this patch. We're now going to talk about the actual champ changes in this
Yeah.
patch. We have a Aurelia, which is a mid laner, and it is a small change that she gets. It's mainly AP Aurelia. I don't know, for Baus FFS or something like that. I don't think we're going to see this on mid.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
think
think
so
this
either.
matters. E cooldown being down on higher ranks, I do think is really good for her because this gives her an extra Q reset, a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah, that's a big buff for the game.
Is it going to change her placement? Probably not. I don't think she's going to go to S
Probably not.
tier.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you could buy Dark Seal now on Irelia. I don't know how good that's gonna be with the AP ratios. You know what Shock says about Dark Seal, so you never know. Ask Shock if you should buy Dark Seal on Irelia now to the changes and see what he says.
That's probably legit. Now I think about it, it's actually I can see it. I can see it. She has some decent AP ratio, so who knows?
Yeah,
Darkseid Aurelia
yeah,
can
exactly.
work. Cool. Now this is the big guy I want to talk about.
Hmm.
Kassadin. Okay. So many of you may know it, and many of you may not know it. But I used to be a big Kassadin OTP. Matter of fact, I've got about like 500k points on this champion. And the reality of Kassadin is that I think he he wasn't that good, but I didn't think we had the full picture last patch, AJ. So you know Alados, right?
Yes.
So Alados is currently the highest rated Kassadin player in the West.
Yeah.
He pumped up his numbers. He did a really good
Yeah.
job. And this morning, this exact morning, he called me up because we are currently creating a Kassadin guide for a coaching
Mm.
program. Link in the description. Anyway, he called me up and he was gonna do a bit of a Kassadin masterclass with me. And
Mm.
he sold me on a new room page on Kassadin.
Oh no. Oh no.
Airy Kassadin. And you may be
Oh,
wondering,
here we go.
what the fuck is this? Right? But he explained it and it made so much sense. And the more I look at it, the more I actually think that the way that he's currently interpreting Kassadin is way, way more legit for solo queue than most players are actually thinking.
Mm. Mm.
Because what he does, and I'm going to share a little bit of the strategy, is he goes Darkseal, refill, and he goes Airy into Axiom Arcanist, Transcendence, Gathering Storm,
Scorch.
no
Oh,
Scorch.
Gathering Storm. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then you go Sudden Impact, Ultimate Hunter. And what you
Mm.
do is you just don't interact in lane. And he's got a super
Mm.
interesting strategy for this. He literally did
Mm.
the maths on this, okay? So instead of starting Doran's Shield refillable potion, what he does, he starts Doran's Shield second win. He starts Dark Seal refill. And he drops every caster minion that he's getting contested on. So he only
Mm.
contests melees. And he said at minute 8, caster minions at total only grant like 350 gold or something like that.
Right. If you hit everyone, yeah.
Exactly. So he's like, if I just drop every caster what I'm gonna get contested on, and I just buy myself the greedy setup with better runes, I'm gonna
Mm.
skill better.
Mm.
And I tried it out for a few games today, and it made me feel like the old Kastin that I used to play in the past with, I think, Deathfire Torch or something like that.
Oh
Was
my gosh.
the
Yeah.
not Grasp, but Torch, Deathfire Torch, the rune, where you hit
Yeah.
someone and you
The
burn.
dot one or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, the dot. That's what it made me feel like. And I
Mm.
felt for the first time ever, also with using this strategy, that my early game and my game plan on Kassin felt streamlined. I
Mm.
understood what
Very clear.
very clear.
Mm.
Enough yapping. He's getting buffs, right? And these buffs are good because they're giving him AP scalings.
Yeah. AP ratio is very good. Yeah.
Crazy, especially on Q. This is really insane because if you combine this with Airy, extra AP scalings, right, is what hits a little bit harder in the lane. You're going to be a little bit taking a little bit more of a greedy setup. You're
Mm.
going to be stacking more AP. You're going to be
Wave clear
dealing more
breakpoint.
damage. Wave clear breakpoint is going to be hit a lot earlier. We're talking
I
this
like it.
champion is getting hit or he's getting changes where he needs to get changes. So I'm convinced that Kassadin is not
Yeah.
C tier.
Yeah, I agree. No, I'm spot on. I think he could. I'm looking at these champions like
Yeah.
they're above him. Like he's gonna be happy against all these champs. Hui, you're gonna be happy against Ari. You're happy against Asol, Zerath, Aurora. Maybe Zoe will probably be a little tough, but even then, like if you do the strat, I'm sure you can make it work.
Yeah.
Azira, you're happy. Galio, you're happy. Syndra, you're happy. Annie, you're happy. Like he's good against all the meta picks. So yeah, I'm happy with bringing him up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to be cooking a bit, guys, but I'm going to put Kassadin in A tier.
Ooh.
Yes, I
A
know it.
tier, huh?
A tier. I want to put him on the bottom of A.
Hmm,
Because I even played into a Corki, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't
interesting.
that bad. I went only down 20 CS. It wasn't
Okay,
terrible.
okay.
I had the feeling like so. Maybe he's fucking doo doo still. We'll see. But I'm hyped, and
Mhm.
I can see it work. What do you think? Am I overshooting this?
I think I'm in agreement, but not that deep in
Okay.
the swimming pool. You know, I'm a little bit
Okay.
more in the middle there with that. I think he is definitely gonna be a lot better. I just struggle to see as you climb higher and higher and higher and higher, people
Yeah.
are going to play in such a way, both champion and playstyle wise, to make your life really really hard, right? And like something I see a lot of people do when they play against Kassadin is they don't lane against him for long enough. Like they'll push and they'll keep him under turret, and then like he's in a bad spot, and then they'll like try to use their prior to go somewhere else. And he just needs that one time of getting that one push out and then to come back into the game and he's fine. And what I notice is that a lot of these Kassadin players, they can't get. I don't see many challenger Kassadin players, but I see a lot of GM ones because the challenger guys, they have that little bit better nuanced understanding. They're like, if you just play 1v1 against Kassadin the whole game, like for the 15 minutes straight, and you actually don't use your prio to move and impact the map, he's going to have a really hard time getting into the game if you're in a good matchup as well. So I think he's a solid high B tier champ. Like I think he will definitely still struggle against a really good player and a good matchup. And I think you can make him work um in games that are easier games, but I don't think he's like A quite yet. But I'll have to see for myself. I could be wrong. Maybe you could just play him every game. But until I see him constantly picked at a high elo and a majority of games, the situations, I'm not convinced he's like A quite yet.
Let's be conservative. Let's put him in B.
Yeah.
Got a
Yeah.
bit too excited there. Great. So, we're going to be talking about Kokma,
Yeah.
and you talked a little bit about it. This TLDR, right? Kokma's getting better AP changes. 10% in his Q. He's getting some extra changes in his W, where he deals more damage on hit with his
Yeah.
max HP as well, which is pretty good. And he also gets slight extra AP changes on R rank. Just all across the board, artillery mage Kokma becomes a little bit better. What do you think of this?
Yeah, so I think what I want to do is first talk high level about artillery mages and their weaknesses, and then I'll talk specifically about Kog'Maw, right? So I do think we kind of overshot some of the artillery mages just a little bit. Like we have Xerath and Ziggs at B, Vel'Koz at C. I think they should all be C tier. Spoilers for Cog. I think he'll be C tier, and it's just because the meta right now is not kind to them in terms of like systematically as a mid laner, right? Like, yeah, sure, their kits can be quite good. Xerath is like the champ where you do 80% of everyone's health and then you lose the fight and you lose the game, right? Zig, same thing. Cog, same thing. Vel'Koz, same thing. Like, you have high damage, but your uptime isn't high, if that makes sense. Like, you send your full combo and then you're done. And if you don't get those exact pristine situations where you're getting that poke down, right? You're being really, really annoying in the mid game. It's going to be hard to do exactly what you want to do. And just side laning as a mid laner is just becoming more and more important. Every patch, every year, as the people get more sophisticated and better at the game, it becomes harder and harder and harder. Like I want you guys to go watch an LEC game from 2020 and compare that to 2025. You will see a stark difference on the amount of side laning that mid laner is doing, right? You will see it. The like mid laners have become way more sophisticated and way more punishing, especially as you get higher elo on these champions that can't side lane very well. And so I think these champions just really struggle to have a home in mid, even though, yes, they have strong lane phases. Like Vel'Koz, like there's the Vel'Koz OT main in the MLI that was talking about. Like you can get prio early game and you like a really good lane phase. Same with Ziggs, same with Cog. It's just like they just struggle to do their job in mid game, in my opinion, as a mid laner because you don't have access to waves in mid game. That's why you see Mel struggle. That's why you see Vel'Koz struggle in mid. Why you see Ziggs and Zera struggle. They just can't do their job as a mid laner, right? Their chance, unfortunately, they have kind of just naturally become more bot lane oriented, right? That's just the reality. And so that's kind of where I stand with artillery mages as a whole. Now, talking specifically about Kog'Maw compared to the other ones, something I like a lot about Kog'Maw is that he has very hard to dodge poke. His E is compare Cog's skill shot, his main poke spell, to all the other artillery mages. His E is obnoxious to dodge. It is almost impossible to dodge his E in lane. Like it is like it's like a Lux ult, even bigger than a Lux ult, just halfway through the screen. And so
It's fast too.
yeah, it's fast. So like the advantage Cog has compared to these other artillery mages is that his skill shot is actually quite easy. Like his R is hard, which is where a lot of the damage does come from late game. But in lane, his E is hard to dodge. Um, So I actually don't mind AP Cog. Like I actually quite like it, especially with those buffs. I think it can be playable, especially if you're the artillery mage person. Now he has no mobility, just like the other one, just like Vel'Koz and Xerath and Mel. And his self peel tools are literally non-existent. He has actually zero self peel options, so your positioning has to be absolutely pixel perfect. But he does do good auto damage, even though you built him AP with the W, right? So I
Yeah.
actually, out of all the artillery mages, I actually like him probably the second most. I would say Ziggs is number one for me, and then Cog would be the order, and then the rest I haven't really thought of. But I actually don't mind Cog just because his laning is so functional. Like he has a very, it's hard to lane against AP Cog if you're playing a mage. To be honest with you.
Yeah, so it's hard for me to really judge on this.
Mm,
Because we did put the artillery mages a bit higher last patch,
mhm.
but because we thought that would be a good choice. But then I
Yeah,
actually play like I don't know. I played quite a bit this patch, and what
yeah.
happened is that I don't see them.
I
I
don't
played
see them.
one
Yeah,
game versus Seraph, and I just pushed them in
I
all the
me too.
game.
Yeah, I played the. I actually just played a solo queue game on my main, my 1K LP account against the Xerath OTP, and he even had a good lane phase. It was I was playing Ori versus he was Xerath,
Mm.
but they had a Shaco and an Alistar, and I had Sona Hecarim, so I could not lane. He froze the wave on his side, walked past the wave, and zoned me. But the problem is, I just did more in mid game than him. He couldn't play the game. He couldn't side lane because Hecarim would kill him 24/7. He has no self peel, so he can't survive. The team fighting was just awkward for him because again he's a poke mage. It's just he
Yeah,
can't kill anyone. So like I had a
especially versus
Sona.
Sona.
Yeah, exactly. So what would happen is I would press E on myself. I would get hit by every single one of his ults and his CC chain. Sona would W me, and I would lose 40%, and now what? He's out of juice, and then the fight's over. And so I think artillery mages, again, combination with the itemization problems that we were talking about earlier. The meta has been evolving and people have been getting better. I think that combination just makes it like these champs. Unfortunately, they just don't do that well in mid right now. That's that's the vibe I get.
All I'm saying, Kassadin buffs.
That's true. That's true.
No, we're gonna put them in here for now.
Yeah.
And maybe next patch we'll find some new data. Maybe next patch
Yeah.
we'll pump some of them
Potentially.
up. This
Yeah.
is just a bit of refinement in a way as well, right? We're
Yes.
just trying to refine and constantly use the data of the 2 weeks of the games that we played to put the champs in the right position based upon our experience.
Yes.
Um, that really highlights the most important changes when it comes to the
Mhm.
patch. Now, we want to do a little bit of refinement on the S and the A tiers here,
Yeah.
and we want to specifically look with changing up the classic control mages, Oriana and Victor specifically. Now, these are champs that I see all the time. By the way, these champs
Yes.
are
Me too.
just all played all the way, and it makes sense because they're really good at getting lane control, a lot of uptime in the game, short cooldowns, and you mentioned that you thought that Victor should be moved to A and Oriana to S. Elaborate, AJ.
Yes.
Why is that
Yeah.
so?
So, yep, I want to swap the positions. And the reason being is I think Ori has a little bit more flexibility as a champion, right? Like, first of all, she has more utility. So, any champion that has high utility means that you can be played in more comps. So, what I find myself after I've learned Ori, and I've played like hundreds of Victor games as well, I find myself being more happy to pick Ori in more wide variety of games. Like, I'll give you guys an example, right? Let's take that Sona Hecarim game against Zera that I just talked about and what with a Shaco and Alistar. I would much rather be Ori in that game than Victor because I could put the ball um on Hecarim, speed him up, and he just sends it right. And he's extremely useful, extremely valuable. Whereas Victor, like if you don't have that clean setup where you get a nice clean front to back, it can be a little annoying to do your job as a Victor. I also find that Ori has a little bit stronger of a lane phase against a wider majority of champions, in my opinion. Like I think Ori's lane phase is just a little bit tighter, right? Like I think you can do well in a wider range of matchups, and you can opt into phase rush, so you got a little bit of defensive utility, and also just in pro play, right? If you've seen pro play recently, Ori's been early rotationed a lot more recently. Like there's been a lot of Ori's. Victor has been tapering down just a little bit. Like I think Faker still plays Victor, but I've seen a little bit more Ori recently.
Okay, let's do some analysis here because
Yeah, let's see. I could be
yeah,
biased, and I could be totally wrong, but
absolutely. Because potentially, right? Because the
yeah,
reality is, I do still think that Victor's really good, and he also has the
I
versatility because
yeah,
I think his side laning against certain
mhm,
compositions with his augments and his slow and his move speed with his Q
Mm.
is super oppressive. It's super, super oppressive.
Yeah,
Let's see.
yeah, I agree, but my argument would be that so is Ori's. I actually been playing games where, like, think about Ori versus
Hmm.
Jax when you phase rush Ori. That's just as oppressive, right? How's Jax ever gonna play against Ori, right? Same with Renekton as well,
Holy
right?
shit.
Yeah. Um, so I actually believe that Ori has almost just as much oppressive side laning as Victor does, to be honest with you, from playing her more and getting better with her. I
Face
actually
rush?
think the question with phase rush specifically, yeah. So that's my take. Like, that's not to say like Victor being A means he's bad. I just think Ori is a little bit more flexible. Like from my experience last 2 weeks learning Ori, I think she's a little bit more flexible. I personally am more happy to pick Ori in more games than Victor. Um, and Ori actually has quite good scaling as well. That's something I didn't really realize. Ori actually scales pretty damn well, like almost as
This
well as
skills really
Victor. So
well.
yeah,
Okay. I think
like
in this
top of
case,
A though, like
so
high A for Victor.
I would have disagreed initially. I would have
Yeah,
initially disagreed, but I think that these stats right here don't lie. This is
yeah,
legit. The fact that she gets picked more than any was correct. Bryce was correct. Was
yeah,
Seer was probably banned a lot.
yeah,
But the fact that she gets picked this much does say something.
yeah.
The only stat I want to look at is Victor ban rate. Prior score, probably the one that highlights the most. I do think that Oriana is therefore legit, and I'm happy to put her up in S, and I'll put a Victor up in high A.
Yeah,
But this,
something I like about Ori as well, sorry to cut you off, is that I
yeah, good.
like Ori's playmaking. Like I've had so many games where like because I come from an assassin like a melee player background that has a lot of playmaking. Something about Ori I really like doing is like hiding my Q like in terrain or like hiding my Q somewhere and like snap engaging. Like as a mage, being able to snap engage, I found has been really valuable. Like Victor, yes, Victor has higher damage. Yes, the side laning might be a tad better. I'm not even convinced it's that much better, but Victor has a little bit of an issue getting a fight going, right? Same with Hui. Hui has the exact same problem as well, where like they struggle just a little bit to get that fight just boom, get a fight started. Where Syndra and Ori, by contrast, you want to fight and you get something nice from Fog of War, you're going, right? You get your team to go, and I won a game today because of that, right? I put my ball in a nice spot. I hid my ball well. The enemy team tried to contest as a mid wave. Boom, snap the fight. It start the fight into a win, and that's something like you don't get as Victor. So yeah, I personally think Ori is like she's a little bit more jack of all trades ish, right? Whereas Victor's very heavily indexed into the being really oppressive in lane and scaling really well. I think Ori does like everything at like a 7 out of 10, which I like personally a little bit more, which is why I like her in S right now.
Awesome. I agree. She should be S. Also, guys, we recently updated the Oriana guide on the program. So if you're looking to pick up Oriana, now's the time to join. Besides that, right, we got some cooking stuff as well. Because talking about guide making, I
Mm,
recently finished the guide, the Diana guide, together with Shock. So I
mm,
made a Diana guide with Shock, and it's currently live on the program as well. And Diana, playing her and seeing her play, shattered my initial thoughts on this champion.
mm.
This champ is borderline crazy good.
Oh
And
no.
you know what it is? It's you may be thinking, okay, Tim, what are you cooking up here? I don't think she's C tier. I still think she's running into issues in really high elo games, like super high
Mm,
elo games.
mm,
But the phase rush, um, like the way that Shock explained the champion to me, because Shock did the heavy lifting for the guide, made her look like she was pretty legit. Also,
mm.
the way that she fought, the phase rush being her fifth ability, allowing her to
I
guide around
see.
plays, getting out
Yeah.
of tricky situations that usually she's so weak to these committal situations. But phase rush actually helps her deep. And I knew initially that phase rush was good on her and that was played, but I didn't know how good it was until I actually
Mm,
saw it. And there's
mm,
not that many people that properly pull it off in high elo games. But I do think that she has the potential to make waves, and I do think she deserves B tier after what I spotted in
mm,
the back.
mm. Yeah, I don't have much experience with Diana. There's
Yeah,
not that many Diana mains on my server, so I can't comment that much. The reason why I put her, you guys have to remember, C tier doesn't necessarily mean bad, right? It just means they're reserved for counter picks and that you can't just play them every game. And so the reason why I initially put her in C is because I thought Diana was really good in the right games. Like you play against Azir, you're very happy to play Diana. You play against even other assassins like Zed, you're happy to play Diana. Echo, you're happy to
really
play
good.
Diana, right? Really, really good in those types of games. So that's why I put her in C, or like why I thought C was good for her. Now I can see B. So like B would basically mean compared to C is that you can play her in a more wider range of games.
Yeah,
So like a game that would just be mediocre for the champion, you can still pilot and function and win games with that.
yeah,
So I haven't seen that, but if what you're
yeah,
saying is true and you think people can navigate like pretty hard games with Diana and make it work, then I'm totally fine putting her in B
yeah,
as well.
for sure. I think she's actually top of B.
Okay.
I think she's that good because also you're gonna
Okay.
run TP, not ignite. A lot of Diana players make the mistake of
Mm.
running ignite and electrocute,
Yeah.
but that fucks your flexibility. This
Mm.
really makes you flexible and makes you actually a demon of a side laner as well. And from what I've seen, this champ can hold up in B tier for sure.
Mm.
For sure. Cool. We're gonna move on to a similar melee champion, but still different, Viego. I've tried Viego. You've tried Viego. I've
Mm.
seen Viego. You've seen Viego.
Yeah.
He's cool, but he's not A tier cool. Let's
No, it's
elaborate why
definitely
that's
not.
the
Yeah.
case.
Yep. So, okay, where do I begin? So I'm a melee background player, right? So I hopped in straight on my challenger account with Viego, like instant day one, instant on the other account, and I noticed very quickly, like he has very defined strengths and weaknesses. Like I was spot on with last week in saying that you must win skirmishes with this champion to function. But I didn't realize like how much that needed to happen. Like it was to the point where like I was laning in every lane, I was just sitting there in my mind. I'm like, I'm getting shut on, I'm getting shut on, I'm getting shut on. I need a skirmish to happen so I can come back into the game. That happened every single game, back to back to back to back. That doesn't mean that you can't make it work. It just means you're very reliant on certain conditions in the game. You need your jungler to be proactive. You need your jungler to go for invades. You need your support to unlock mid for you and push out your mid wave so you can be first to play. You need to be able to enter side lane with Bork and start winning the side, right? And so I found that Viego is just lacking a little bit too much tools to be able to lane. Like he just needs a little bit more of a bump, like maybe a base health regen increase or cooldown reduction on his E or his W or something like that. Just give him a little bit more oomph so he can solo lane a little bit more. Because yeah, I think in an elongated lane phase against one of these hard matchups, like a range, like Ori for example, even with the E, like the cooldown's not short enough, you are going to struggle to play against an Oriana. So I don't think he's A. He doesn't have enough tools to survive lane, in my opinion. I think he's solidly in B. If you can get those skirmishes going, you can make it to side lane with Triforce or Bork, whichever item you go, and you can start playing side lane. You're very happy. If you can't get that, you're going to lose the game. You're going to feel miserable the whole game and wish you didn't play him. So that's my take on Viego.
I think he's more like the Ambessa Akali.
I think Ambessa is way better. Like I still been playing Ambessa, even on my 1K LP
Yeah.
account. I actually, speaking of Ambessa, I might even want to raise her back up to A personally.
What?
Yeah, I've been having a decent amount of success with Ambessa.
I don't see anyone
Oh,
play this champion on mid
really?
lane,
I
man.
mean, it might just be me being biased and playing her on my own, but I have been having a lot of success with her.
I actually wanted to remove her from the list.
Oh wow,
'Cause
okay,
the last time I saw this
right.
champion on mid was
Mm,
years ago.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of
I
course,
mean,
figuratively speaking.
yeah, yeah. So she's not very popular. I think a lot of people dropped her, but I still been playing her, and I've been having a blast with her, and I've
Okay.
been doing really well with her. So, um, yeah, that's a really just an anecdotal thing. Then,
Yeah,
right?
it
That's just me
is.
anecdotally. I think she's good, but I definitely think she's definitely better than Viego in mid, regardless.
Okay.
Even if neither of them are on the list, I definitely think Viego's kind of on the lower end there for sure.
So guys, keep this in mind. If Ambessa comes back more popular on mid, we're gonna add her back into the T list. But for
Yeah.
now, best respects to
Oh 07.
Ambessa. Oh
Yeah.
07 Ambessa. She is decent if you put a mastery on him. It's a pretty hard
Yes, she
champion.
is.
But for now, she's going to the bench.
And if you need a best help, come to me. I've played hundreds of games of this champ, so
Absolutely. So, final champ I want to talk about in the Emerald Plus T list is the Twisted Fate. Because we did
mm,
put him in A. I think we did over like he's still good, but I think he's lingering from the previous patches.
yes.
And I think it's time to do a bit of cleaning. And I think we gotta put him into B tier because I
Yep.
definitely think that his power level compared to what's the other champs is just lower.
I'm looking at all the matchups in S. I think you're gonna have a really miserable time in any of these matchups, except for like Azir, and even then, you're gonna get outskilled by Azir. So you got to
Yep.
make sure Shavin. But every other S champ, I'm not happy to pick TF against any of those champs.
Yep. That's right. So B tier, I think, is a lot more fair.
Yep.
Great. Happy with T list? I think it's pretty
Yep.
legit.
Looks good.
As an A tier, looks really solid. Really happy with that one. And we got some cooking stuff coming up with Kassadin and Diana. Keep your eyes out on these champions, guys. These champs might just take over. And we're going to move on to the lower Edo T list, the below Emerald T list, guys. This is below Emerald. And we are going to be discussing a few things, right? Number one, we're going to start with some of the changes that we talked about previously. So we're going to talk about some buffs to the AD assassins like Zed, like Kiana, and we're also going to talk about the other champs. Now let's start with the AD assassin changes. How is that going to impact the effectiveness of Zed winning games in lower elos? Now, we did a bit of scouting. Let's be honest. We go to silver, Zed still fucking sucks right here. He just doesn't win games.
Yeah.
Right? That's true. Now, is this going to make a difference for Zed? Maybe. Maybe not. What do you think?
Yeah, so okay. Let's contextualize a few things first. So this is a below Emerald list, but our this specific tier list is skewed a little bit more towards silver and gold. Just keep that in mind. So this does still apply to plat. This still does apply to bronze and iron, but it's skewed in that silver to gold range. That's when I think about below emeralds. Those are the elo ranges I think about. So when we're looking at our stats, you notice how Tim is hovering silver and gold. So that's something you need to consider. Second thing is that people are going to say, "Oh, but I win games on champs like Zed and LeBlanc." The problem is that's very anecdotal, and you're probably just remembering the moments where you did well with those champions, and not actually over a long period of like 100+ games. Are you actually at 52% win rate? Because that's how you climb in league, guys. You need to be at a 52% win rate. And so I don't think these champions are realistic for a silver player to reach a 52% win rate on. I think you're going to struggle with it. So yes, Zed is getting bust with the item changes. Yes, Profane Hydra is like actually not that hard to use, right? Especially at that level of play, you could just spam it when it's up. It is another bunny at the press, but it's like you build the intuition that you don't have to land skill shots, which that does help Zed. If you get to the point where you understand your damage, you don't need to land anything to kill someone, that can be quite strong. So look, do I think that's going to make him raise a tier? I'm a little bit iffy. I'm curious to hear what you will say about that. I personally think he's probably still D. He's still going to struggle to win games. And so in that silver to gold range. So personally, yes, it will make him better, but I don't think it's enough to make him like. I don't think I'm happy with somebody bringing in a Zedvod, and for example, and silver and gold.
It's just too hard.
That's too hard.
It's too hard. Yeah. So look, guys, we did get some complaints or like questions, so to say, about these assassins. The reality is the mechanical execution in at this level of play is just not good enough to make up for the good moments that you have in the game. The reality is the consistency of your mechanical execution is going to directly impact how much LP you're going to win. And there's a reason, I'm going to be really brutally honest, right? There is a reason you're still in gold with that. And this is, I don't want to be mean in any means, but it's just the truth. Because this champion is as direct as its mechanical execution as you get, because that's just the skill expression, and that's your ability to win fights. If you fight better, if you are able to navigate and win these fights better, you will win and climb on Zed. But the reality is, it's too hard, because matter of fact, I've got a lot of Zed experience. I want to put this in perspective, okay? I used to play Zed back in the days. Didn't climb on him. But I also picked him up this year again, played 50 Zed games. At the end of my 50 Zed games, I made the Zed guide. I got better, but I was still completely dog shit on this champion. Right? I was just dog shit. I had the strategy down. I knew how to win games, but I could not climb on it. I can maintain my rank, but I can't climb on this champion. I'm not good enough. And it's just a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. But it is just the truth. This champion is not good to climb on. You will not find success in the longer run. And we got to be very hard about this, because it's just the reality of these champions, guys.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's not to say you shouldn't play them, but this is a list as coaches from our experience of what is going to give you results. How are you going to get better at the game? And I even want to contextualize even more and give another example. Price, shout out to Price in the MLA. He was a long term Jace main who only played Jace, and everyone knows like he was a Master Plus long term Jace player. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is we're not
Years.
even talking about silver and gold. We're talking about Masters, long term. Okay, struggling, couldn't really big pass Masters, and he started playing Galio the last month. He's like 20-3 with Galio in the last 2 weeks or something. He's climbed like 500 LP. So just contextualize that, guys. He could sit there and say, "Yeah, I'm like 51% winner as Jace. I'm winning games as Jace." Are you? Are you climbing with him? Or are you
Yeah.
playing, or what? Or can we go to Galio and learn the game through an easier lens? Even at Masters, a long term, many year Masters, he's learning the game at a much more quickly rate and
Yeah.
climbing way better at Galio. So think about that.
Yeah.
And Zed, I would say, is just as hard as Jace, right?
Yeah.
One could argue for one being harder or the other. I'm not here to argue that, but they're comparable for sure, right?
Yeah.
And so now we're talking about and below Emerald. We're talking silver and gold, guys. So like, you got this is just a tough pill to swallow, and we're here to help guide you guys and tell you like this is what leads to results. Now you can either accept that or you could play the champ for fun, and that's those are your two paths. You just need to understand that that is the reality that you're living in, right? Um,
Absolutely.
so that's where we're at with Zed and like those other mechanical champs in D as well, like LeBlanc. Same idea.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So the thing that I also want to note in that case is that there's not only the mechanical execution, there's this other layer of decision making game options. It just gets messy. It's just
Yes.
fucked. These champs, you need to avoid them. Avoid at all costs. Please. Please. And I get arguments, yeah, we can win lane on LeBlanc, and I understand that that's possible, but you can't win the game consistently. Good luck versus the Mundo with Spirit Visage, but you just
Yeah.
don't exist.
Yeah.
You don't exist. You can't win the game.
Yep.
Now that's our friendly monologue about the hard champs,
Yeah.
and we really needed to get one out there. But there
Yeah.
is two champions that are hard and are getting results in lower elos, and there's a really good reason why that's the case. And we want to talk about Aurelia and Yasuo because we want to put these champs up a tier. Matter of fact, I think Aurelia is a champion that we
Mm.
should potentially even consider for A. And the reality is because we've proven over the past few years that lower elo players are finding success on Aurelia. And I want to quote Necklace. We have a dedicated coach that was and somewhat still is an Aurelia OTP.
Mm.
And what happened is that he's been getting players from silver/gold towards above emerald on Aurelia purely by teaching them the game fundamentals through this champion. And yes,
Mm.
mid
Mm.
game is hard, but the reference points in lane are so consistent. The trading patterns, the way you go about it, is so consistent that there is room to improve and therefore also room to win games because these are also just shitstorm champions. If you just
Mm.
get really far ahead and you get the wave in a good position, you will die. That's not the case with LeBlanc. That's not the case with Zed. It is the case with
Mm.
Yasuo. It is the case with Aurelia, right?
Mm.
The burden of execution is high, but it's not as high as it is on those champs.
Mm.
I think Aurelia, it reflects in the tier list from Loralytics as well. She just wins games in lower elos.
Mm.
She does win games. And I think we have to consider that really deeply. Now, I'm not going to put her in S tier because there is better champs. But I
Mm.
think that if you are committed, like 100% committed, OTP, I want to climb on Yasuo, or I want to climb on Aurelia, I'm confident that with some guidance and with some understanding of the reference points and constant revision, you can do it. And therefore, I'm happy to put Aurelia in A and
Mm.
Yasuo, not Yone, Yasuo in
Whoa.
B.
Yeah, I mean, I would echo what you're saying there. I think the thing I like when we're juxtaposing Zed and Irelia is like Irelia is more versatile. Like you said, a LeBlanc against Mundo can't do anything. Guess what? Irelia could kill a tank and a squishy just the same. It's the same. Like her efficacy is similar no matter what type of game you're in. I think that's the key thing. It's like if you understand Irelia well and you know how to deal your damage well as Irelia and you learn the game, like you said, through the game fundamental lens as Irelia, you can win games. Whereas Zed, it's like you could do all those things and still lose if you're in a like if you're in the wrong game for Zed or something like that, right? And you're not like super thorough with your game
Yeah.
understanding. So I think A is maybe still a little high for Irelia. Like I like top of B. I think when I think of B, I think of like average, like not amazing, not terrible. You can get results.
Mm.
I like B, and I think the win rate also reflects that. Like I think her win rate's like slightly above 50%, right? So like she's doing a decent job of winning games, right? I don't think she's bad. Like I don't think she's C or D. I don't think she's. I'm not as happy as somebody picking Irelia as a Ori, for example, though. So
Yeah.
that's my argument, which is why I would want her
Mm.
in B.
Yeah, I'd rather have someone still play Ziggs or something like that.
Exactly, or Ari, or even Vex and Syndra, right?
Ah, yeah. Look, I think the benefit that Aurelia has, right, is that she has also just the right click factor in a way. Like
Right.
worst case scenario, you just right click with
Hmm.
Q, you proc the Borg, and it's a cool version one. I understand. It's a cool version one. I understand we can potentially do high B. We can do high B. We can do low A. I think the win rate reflects low A.
Okay.
That's what I'm confident into. Look,
Sure.
this doesn't appear randomly here.
Out of curiosity, can you put it on plat? Let's see how does it
Yeah,
scale on plat? Can you put
yeah.
plat and I want to say plat and bronze as well.
Plat
Mm,
is
okay,
decent.
what about in bronze?
Bronze probably.
I see. So it's a 1-to-1. So what I'm noticing though is the reverse of Yone. The better you get the champ, the harder it becomes for other people to deal with as you climb, right? Because when we look at Yone, like his win rate goes down the higher rank you go. But Irelia, the higher rank you go, the higher the win rate actually goes up, which
Hmm.
means that you're getting good ROI as you go through the ranks with Irelia.
Oh my
Yeah,
fuck! But
yeah, so
this is cute. This is cute because these are playing against bronze players and they're losing. So Iron
yeah,
is a rough tier to look at. Iron's
yeah,
a rough tier to look at.
yeah.
Okay, I can see it. Um, I want to remove some gems. I want to remove Nico kill. I think
Sure.
for mid lane, I don't
Just
think
declutter
they're.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, we just want to declutter it. Need get them out.
Yep.
And I want to also talk about Kassadin because what I also discussed with Alados this morning
Mm.
is when we're making new Kassadin guide is that he has literally just gotten a player from bronze to gold on Kassadin, consistent. And he's done this through his consistent setup, insanely consistent setup. He's getting results by understanding how to skill into late game, clear reference points. I think that Kassadin potentially deserves B tier as well, especially
Mm.
with the buffs that he's getting, that he's also getting strong and scaling on AP.
So who was the client? It might be the
Fred
wrong thing.
Leo.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So the counterpoint I want to say, for those of you who don't know who this guy is, he is super mega curious about the game. So my counter
True.
argument is that he would have done that with any champion. And that's not actually Kassadin
Mm.
specific. He would have done that with Yone. He would have done that with Yasuo. He would have done that with a call. I think he would have, because he's so curious about the game. He studies the game. He plays a lot. He's in every review and every coaching session for every coach. He gives as
Constantly asking
many perspectives.
questions.
So I think it's less about the champion in his case and more about this is what he loved. That's what made him curious. But I think if he was curious about Corki, it would have been the same thing. If he was curious about Kiana, it would have been the same thing.
I
In my
don't I
opinion.
don't know many people that are curious about Corky, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, for sure. um,
Okay, yeah.
so yeah, I'm still a little bit. I'm definitely gonna push back a little bit on the Kassadin
Okay.
one. I don't think he teaches the game. Like maybe you can climb okay, but also like if you combine it with how badly the skill set you learn with Kassadin, I'm not a fan personally.
Okay. So let's put this guy on a hot watch, right?
Yeah,
See
yeah,
how the buffs exactly influence
yes.
him.
The boss influenced him a lot, and you're winning a lot of games with him. Sure, I'll be happy moving him up.
Yes. And if you guys want to share some data, right? Feel free to influence
Oh
us
no.
on this Kassadin decision here.
I'm gonna
How
get
do you
roasted
guys
for this
experience
Kassadin.
Kassadin? Awesome. Now, the final one I really want to talk about is Mel,
Yeah,
because I know that Mel is a problematic pick in below Emerald
feels
because
problematic.
feels problematic exactly,
Yes,
and that's about it as well. She feels problematic. People hate versing here,
but she
but she's
doesn't
still
win.
not winning games.
Like she's horrible.
Why? Why is that? What do you think?
Yeah, because the reality with Mel is that okay, so she is a long range champion that needs extended fights. That is just a recipe for disaster. Okay, because like if we compare that to Xerath, what we're talking about in the above Emerald one, if you guys want to tune in back to the artillery mage problem in the high elo, is that in high elo you need you need to get all your damage off. You need to be able to kill. The problem with Mel is she's the reverse. You need to sit there and you need to be in a long extended fight, getting your passive all the way up to do stuff. So the problem is that she's supposed to be the scale, like the fantasy is supposed to be a scaling mage that takes over the mid game. That just doesn't happen because her kit doesn't mesh well with her identity. Because it takes you so long to get your damage off that her efficacy, her effectiveness to kill people and get your damage off is just not consistent. Her skill shots are bad. Her Q is very mediocre. Her E is her only powerful spell, pretty much in her kit. Obviously, the W is frustrating, but yeah, she just doesn't have a cohesive kit. Like it's like because her W is so frustrating, the rest of her kit has to be bad, and it just makes her not win very many games. Like she's just hard. Her lane phase is mediocre. You would think she scales well, but it's just average. And yeah, she just doesn't win very many games, both in high and low elo. She's just a problem champion, right? Her win rate is bad because people don't like playing against her, but in reality, she doesn't win games. She just doesn't win games.
Okay, so the truth is, it's really hard for me to judge on this one because of the
Mm.
fact that I've not seen any Mel. I've not reviewed any Mel.
Mm.
The only thing I get is sometimes questions where people struggle to play against Mel. But really judging her strength, especially in lower ranks, is hard for me to do. So I'm gonna lean on you on this one. What do you think? She deserves A? Do you think she's
No, I
B?
think she's C.
C even?
I think she's so like she is just so like she needs stat buffs. Like she just needs to be a stronger champion. That's the reality. Like she is just a weak champion. That's the problem, right? Like
Fuck.
she is just a bad champion right now, right? I mean, like look at her win rate. Like her win rate is like 48%, and you would think like I would think she would have a high win rate low elo because people don't know how to play against the W. But I think the issue is that she's so weak. Even if you do reflect something good with your W, you're still not going to win a fight. That's the problem I'm seeing. Like I don't
Okay.
know. She just seems so just bad. Like she's just understated. Like
All
if she
right.
gets some buffs and some number changes, I'm happy putting her all the way back in A. But right now, like the reality is, we're talking about this patch. Efficacy of climbing this patch, it's not there. It's not there.
Yep. Okay. I'm gonna fully lean on you on this one in the C tier. Now, I think that overall we've done a pretty good job cleaning
Yes.
up, refining both of these tiers,
Yep.
implementing the small changes that they're adding about mid laning in this game,
Yep.
and I'm really generally really happy with both tier lists. And there's a final thing I want to note. I played some Galio as well, guys. This champ is so overpowered. This champ just works and wins games. So if you're really looking to have consistent success and improve on a champion that is just evergreen and wins games, I recommend looking into Galio as a bit of a conclusion here. Do you want to end it off with anything else, AJ?
All I'm gonna say is ask Price about Galio if you're in the MLA. Ask Price about Galio. He'll tell you about Galio. I promise you that much. He'll be your Galio salesman for sure. But yeah, on a
Fantastic.
more serious matter, yeah, guys. I mean, just at the end of the day, play what understand what your goals are in league and play as a reflection as that. So I don't care if you're an Iron Zed main and you're like, I just want to play Zed because I'm having fun. I work a
Yeah.
full-time job. I have 2 kids. I just want to play Zed because it's fun. But
Yeah.
don't sit here and be like, I want to climb and as fast as I can. I want to get to Emerald, and I think Zed's a good champ to climb to that. That just your goals need to be aligned with what you're playing, or vice versa. Your behavior needs to be a reflection of what your goals are. Okay, that's all. That's all I'm going to end it with. This goes for both below Emerald and above Emerald. Play what you want. Play what's fun. Always start there, but understand what journey you're going to come across. Understand the challenges, and we're here to give you and outline that. And so at the end of the day, that's what these tier lists are for.
Absolutely. So thank you all for watching, guys. This was a great tier list. If you guys have any major champs that you have questions about, what we're gonna do for the people that still watch here at the end, I want you guys to upvote certain champions in the comments that you guys
Yes.
want to have discussed. So in the next tier list, if we
Do
see
Q&A.
we do a bit of Q&A and we
Yeah.
find the biggest comments with the most upvotes,
Yes.
and we can put them in the video. We can discuss them and figure out if you guys have any questions. Tim, what the fuck is this way in A tier? You know, we'll tell you exactly why way is in A tier in the next video. So don't be shy to put it in the comments, and
Yeah.
we'll reflect upon your questions. Thank you all for joining in and watching this video. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another tier list. Peace out, guys.